All right, welcome back to step two. This is where we actually get into recording and creating in PowerPoint. And I want to show you this real quick. And this reason I'm getting into PowerPoint here is I want to make sure that you understand that you have to use the program version of PowerPoint to record on a slide, that the actual web-based version of PowerPoint in Office 365 does not have the record feature. So I want to make sure that you have that option here. And then this is where we get into PowerPoint is you have a theme that you can pick or a template, whatever you call it. I'm going to go into this education one here, and there's a template that I like, and I know I saw it on the last page, but I just want to show you how I got to it. And so I'm going to create that slide, and as it gets into it, you have these different options around PowerPoint that you have. And I just want to show you that it automatically brings up this help component. If it doesn't, you have this help button right here, and it kind of walks you through on how to add things and put things into PowerPoint if this is like your first time. It also has this slide bar over here, so you can see the entire slide deck presentation that has some suggested different types of slides. You may just keep them all very simple, and you may not use some of these, and that's okay. If you decide you want to delete, you can just right click and you can delete. You can duplicate, same thing. If I want a slide that looks like that multiple times, I can duplicate it. And of course, I can change the layout, but I can also move them around pretty easy within the slide deck by just left clicking on them, holding it down and moving it. So that kind of gives you some quick ideas. Of course, the rest of this is very similar to Word, where I can change and make things larger font or bold or underline, things like that. So again, keep it simple always is the key with a lot of these new programs if you haven't used them or aren't familiar with them. So the next thing is actually recording. If you might have the record tab on your ribbon up here, and you may not. So one other way is automatically going into slideshow and then hitting the record button. All right, well, you see that it actually brings up this kind of nice slide component where you can actually record items. And this gives us lots of different options. You can turn on your camera, and you'll see me pop up here in the bottom corner there as I turn on my camera. And there I am right there, right? So, and then I can turn that back off if I don't want to have that on there. I got to make sure I have my microphone on. And I can also change to which different type of microphone or different camera if I have multiple there. I can export certain things. I can use the pens to draw and things like that if there's something you want to add to that. I can change the different types of, I can blur my background if I do so. If I do have my camera up, and I can actually blur the background and everything like that. And all this can be done prior to starting, obviously, the record button up here, the big red button. So the view is presenter view, slide view. Could be depending on how you want it. I like the teleprompter view. You can just play around with it and see before, again, you hit that record button. The teleprompter view has your notes up here. This is what shows up in the notes section. So you can kind of give an idea of what is you want to say. That way you can look at the camera that might be up here, and it looks like you're looking at the camera and you're actually just kind of reading through your notes. It's kind of a nice little trick in PowerPoint there. And how I had it in the notes is you want to record one slide at a time, and I'll show you. I'm going to actually hit the record button. You'll see the countdown, and now it's recording, and it's going to record just for a few seconds. And when I'm done recording on this slide, instead of hitting this and moving on to the next slide, I'm actually going to stop it, and it's going to put a little thing over here. Each one of these slides will have its own little sound icon here. And then I want to move on to the next slide and record on that next slide. When we export this file, and this will be in another video, when we export this file, we're going to export it as an MP4. It'll combine all of that stuff, and we'll just move on to the next slide after an end of each thing. So the timings and all that will kind of be automatically done for you. Hopefully that kind of helps you and gives you a good idea. So that's kind of the last component of that. When we're ready to go back and actually save the file, when we're done, you're going to hit on this edit button. We're going to go back into regular PowerPoint. And then I'm actually going to want to, you'll see the little sound icon up here. That this is my recording. You can see the recording. You can listen to it again if you want to. And then I want to make sure I save it, though. I want to make sure I save my file, save as, save. I can go ahead and save it to OneDrive once I'm done, or I can save it to my hard drive, whichever is easiest for you. But at some point, that's what you just make sure you want to save. And then we'll go on to the next component. So thanks a lot for listening, and I'll see you step 3. Thanks a lot.